Aloha
Aloha, everyone. Welcome
to the seasonal tune-in, the second session. We're very excited to share with you our experiences over this equinox. As now this video is past the equinox, so it's kind of the end of the equinox period, like the equinox season. So amazing how the weather's changed. It actually changed right on the 22nd of September when the equinox hit its peak, and it just started raining non-stop, as you probably noticed, and we rolled into autumn officially. So welcome to autumn.
Welcome, autumn, harvest season. Welcome the cleansing rains.
And welcome to Libra season as well. This transformation equinox marks the beginning of Libra, which is ruled by the planet Venus, all to do about harmony, love, peaceful relationships, harmonious relationships and interactions. So we're now in this time where we harmonize and balance our internal and external worlds. So in today's session, we're going to start again with a tune-in meditation to get us into the feeling and all body sensation of being tuned in to what we're here to experience this season, here and now. So over to Joel.
Thank you, Ice Day.
Yeah.
So, let us relax our eyelids a little. Become more conscious of our breath. Use our breath to bring us into the present, into the center of the here and now, into the center of space and time, into alignment with this season, with whatever time of day that you're watching this now. Feel the flow, feel the present flowing from you and through you and from you, out of the point of convergence that is your heart, time and space converging. All of the four directions converging, east, south, west, north, the three heavens converging, Father Sky above, Mother Earth below, and the center, all converging in the center deep within your heart, flowing. Feel yourself diving deep into your inner waters, diving deep into the eternal present. Feel the ocean of your being, the fathomless pool from which we come, the pool of love, the pool of awareness, the pool of light. Feel the spaciousness within. Feel it through the breath. Feel the center within is not only your center, it is your true center, not just the center of the personality, of the body. Feel the center of the soul, the center of the spirit, the center of the universe, the omnipresent center of the universe that you experience, that we are experiencing right here, right now, from our point of perspective, from our point of origin, from our source, The source being the heart, the center, the nexus. Our perception of reality, our creative diving board is happening right here, right now, from our center. When we're in our center, we aren't just the actor in the play that we are all co-creating. We are directing, we are producing, we are the director of photography, choosing the angle, the lighting, the mood, the vibe, the feeling. By stepping back from the mask of the persona, we gain perspective and spaciousness. We give ourselves room for adaptability and creativity. So feel this awareness flowing, circulating around you and from you. Come into the center, the eye of the storm, the eye of awareness. Feel the inner tranquility, peace, calm. Waves may ripple around the surface, but deep in the ocean there is stillness and peace, balance in the universal solution that is the waters of life, the waters of knowledge, the waters of love. Feel your energy field circulating and dancing around you like a swirling whirlpool. Feel the thoughts of the mind swirling around the periphery of the whirlpool and our center of awareness at the still point, at the 0 point, beyond. Feel yourself at one with that beyondness, that wholeness, that place of perspective that transcends the limitations. This place of perspective is pure consciousness, the consciousness of creation, the eternal consciousness of light, of liberation, of beauty, of abundance, of well-being, the well of well-being, the source of well-being, the spring of well-being. Feel how that feels. Breathe in the bliss. Allow the bliss to permeate deep into you. The ecstasy, the joy, the unconditional love, the limitless appreciation, the thankfulness, the relief. And feel yourself receiving it like an open vessel, like a channel, like a river, like a conduit. Receiving the refreshing, healing waters of creation, the waters of life, the waters that are life. Every physical being on this planet is a water-based life form. Feel the sacred magic of divine water. Feel the inner clarity and transparency. Allow the silt to settle, the waters to become clear, to sparkle. Feel the water in each of your 100 trillion cells sparkling and glistening with freshness. Feel yourself bathed in this liquid light, this plasma dancing between fire and water and fire and water. This life force. Feel yourself marinating, culturing in this life force. Feel the harmony that is allowing flow, genius, intelligence, and compassion, electricity to be conducted from atom to atom, from electron to electron, from cell to cell, spreading the vibrations of happiness, of thriving, of deliciousness. Feel the purity of the inner waters, blessing the world, blessing all the waters of the world, so all the creatures and all the people of the earth become aware of the magic of their inner solution, their waters, that everyone may appreciate and cherish the waters of the world and have fresh, clean water to drink. Feel the enthusiasm, inspiration, and effervescence bubbling forth from the spirit, from the soul. Feel its tears of joy that it loves you and appreciates all of you so much unconditionally. Feel yourself liberated, forgiving everyone and everything, forgiving oneself for everything, and forgiving ourselves for even thinking that we did something wrong and that we require forgiveness. Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh.
Oh. So share with us a story about
Ho'oponopono.
I can only sing it.
Okay, well, we're going to sing it and then we'll do the story.
I
release control and surrender to the flow. Oh, love, that will heal me. Ho'oponopono, 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 Ho'oponopono.
So share with us a story about Ho'oponopono.
Come on, the next verse.
I
Forgive you, I love you, please forgive me. And thank you, I forgive you. I love you, please forgive me. And thank you, I forgive you. I love you, please forgive me. And thank you, I forgive you. I love you, please forgive me. And thank you. So, Ho'oponopono is a beautiful Hawaiian way of being. That it translates as, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, thank you, thank you. and was made famous in the rest of the world by the work of Dr. Hugh Len in Hawaii, who managed to cure a maximum security mental asylum ward. Those are all politically correct terms, but whatever, you know me, doing my best. And he did this practice of Ho'oponopono, which was basically to take each patient's file, and he sat at his desk with a mirror and looked into the mirror and said, Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, thank you, thank you, over and over again, whilst meditating on each person's file. And day by day, each patient got better and better and better, till eventually everyone was liberated and they had to close the ward down. That's how the story goes. You can find the story on YouTube. There's a book by Joe Vitale, and it's a great story. It's true, and it's a practice that we can all do. Simply, it's the teaching of forgiveness, which many great masters have shared with us, including Jesus and many others. And it's a simple thing. It's a bit of spring cleaning for the soul.
Or autumn cleaning.
Autumn cleaning for the soul, which of course is the complement to spring cleaning. And it keeps us present. It helps us let go of our baggage. It does what water does, which is water cleanses, water purifies, not just the body, but the element in its true form when appreciated and enlivened with our awareness, cleanses the emotions, cleanses the mind, cleanses the soul.
So why are we talking about forgiveness today a lot, and why we started with the forgiveness meditation is because it's one of the key tools to experience more well-being instantly and for free. And it's related to our emotional states, as Joe mentioned. When our emotions are flowing and when we are happy in our dynamic, ever moving and expanding flow, then we're able to forgive. We're able to continuously forgive, and it is often advised, and we also from our experience suggest that one should practice forgiveness on a daily basis to just refresh the slate. Even when you don't think that you need to forgive anything, there might be something that you might have overlooked. So it's a great practice, and in terms of in the context of the equinox, when we're talking about the water element a lot, since we're moving into the autumn season, which is related to elementally to water, and since we have a rainy season right now, it's a good idea to reconnect those emotions, reconnect to our watery nature. And the key to that is forgiveness. Then we can access the pure, clean, fresh, flowing waters and share them with others. And also, the teaching of Libra is that of healthy, thriving, harmonious relationships within ourselves and also with the outside world. So forgiveness is also the key to having those resetting if we have some complicated relationships, which we all do from time to time. Forgiveness is the key to reset and refresh those relationships so that we can enter the Libra season masterfully and in tune with it. We're also celebrating new moon this weekend. So new moon in Libra, again, same message. Be in harmony with yourself, be in harmony with others, and kind of set a new beginning for that. So forgiveness comes very handy in those situations.
Okay.
All right. So what else do we want to cover today? If we forget to the forgiveness practice, a lot of emotions can build up, and that can lead to states of stagnation, or feel stuck, sad, depressed. We don't even know or remember why we're sad or depressed. That's also a quality of water, but water when it's out of tune, out of harmony with its nature. So in terms of bouncing into flavor world, Water is represented by the elements of sweet. So water is sweet and it brings sweetness into our lives. So it's a good time to share our sweetness, whether in food, in cooking, or just by being sweet with ourselves and others. And it's also the best time of the year to dive deeper into fermented foods, which are cultured foods, and in essence, they're not sweet, but it's one of the best foods that carry the sweetness of our essence through them, because we infuse the foods with our medicine. And the direction of the West, which is represented by its season of autumn, is ruling all the medicinal food and flavors, all the medicines of the world. It's a kind of like a shamanic gate. That's where we learn about how we use the herbs and medicines and potions in our life and how we heal them. We heal others with them. So the best way to start is to embrace and start exploring the world of fermentation, because it's such a rich and medicinal and delicious and warming way of introducing more of our medicine into our daily cooking, daily food, daily routine. It's not cooking per se, it's raw food. So what would be the most important things about fermentation to mention, like the gut health and probiotics and the culture itself?
So we've got to remember that we could, this time of year, we've just been through summer and we're picking the moment, the last of the harvest of summer. A lot of those summer foods are cooling, and of course we don't really require them to be cooling as we move into autumn and winter. But this is the point of transformation from fire into water this time of year. That's what it is. Summer is fire and autumn is water. And Mayan people and many ancient and indigenous traditions kept this awareness alive that, as they say, water is fire and fire is water. And that's something to meditate on and to feel, because the heavens above us, air, and the earth below us are very sturdy and static phenomena, very fixed. And then between those, dancing between those and transferring the energy of air to the earth and earth to the air or heavens are the two dynamic elements which dance between the two. And they're in a state of plasma transformation. And they are fire moving up and water moving down. Plasma being the same thing in different forms. One rises up, one flows down. So what happens in the alchemy of culturing and fermentation is we turn these cooling summery foods and we preserve them, and we preserve their summer fire, because they do have summer fire, but they're cooling during the summer fire a lot of the time. And then by fermenting them, whether it's a cucumber or a cabbage that will be cooling in summer when it's fresh, we ferment that and it becomes activated with friendly bacteria, with single-celled organisms that help make it more digestible, that help warm it up, that change its state and make it into a very warming food. So of course, some things can be a lot more cooling if it's straight from the fridge at 4 degrees, but if we serve it, if we warm it up or we serve it with other hot food, whether it's quinoa or wild rice or amaranth or squash, some of my personal favorites, then we get to serve at a great temperature, which is very important to be aware of what temperature we enjoy our food at. And we don't have to eat all our food raw under 40 degrees at all. It's good to choose which foods to cook and which can handle heat, and which foods are it's a waste to cook them in lots of ways unless you really want to. So to cook certain things like the four I just mentioned, and then to serve them with some great raw sides or dishes and try and get that Raw food, as close to body temperature, 40 degrees, as possible, will make them much easier to enjoy in these cooler times of year through autumn, winter, into spring. But still with their full life force, their enzymes, and all the wonderful minerals and vitamins that are released from them.
So it's very important with fermented foods to make sure that it's preferable to make them yourself, and the best time to make them is this time of the year when the harvest is available. So
Freshest.
It's available, abundant and freshest, and even if you wanted in the natural kind of setup, you wouldn't be able to eat all the cabbages that come out at the same time. So the natural thing to do is to ferment them. And if you choose to go and buy fermented foods in the store, like sauerkraut or kimchi, make sure you buy it from the fridge rather than from a shelf, because all fermented foods, if they live and raw and if they haven't been pasteurized, they need to be refrigerated. And there isn't any point really to eat fermented foods that have been pasteurized, because the probiotics have been neutralized, nuked. So the only purpose of fermented foods that have been pasteurized is just the flavor and texture of the food, but it loses all the medicinal value of it, or most of it, especially the probiotics, which is the most prized quality of the fermented foods. So really, it's a good. It's so valuable to invest some of your time to make a big batch of sauerkraut at this time of the year, and we have shared some of the recipes in the email that we sent last week. And because it's not just that you're creating some probiotic foods for yourself, you're also infusing it with a specific vibration that your body recognizes as you, and therefore shares that medicine that you require specifically and your family. So in Korea, they have a saying that they have a name for another flavor, which is the flavor of the hands of a person that made the food. And all the Korean families prize their own individual, or their own families, their own clan kimchis and ferments very dearly, and they pass them on to different generations. And still in Korea, you can find crock pots which are how old?
1,000+ years old.
1,000+ years old. So it's very special. It's just in Europe, for a while, we have kind of lost or abandoned or tried to forget about the importance of fermented foods, especially in relation to our gut health and our community health and our culture. So because we got swayed by the age and era of pasteurization, but now it's coming back. Especially, you can find fermented raw sauerkraut in most of the farmers markets and health food stores. But as we say, make one yourself. We send some recipes to you, and make this time an opportunity to remember this skill and bring it back to your and your family's life.
Yeah. Once you just get into the practice of trying this out a few times, which is ridiculously simple and easy, and you feel like you've got in the flow of it, and it's easy to make big batches. And basically you have, that is, apart from all the nutrition and the flavor and all the wonderful things, it is the most natural preservation technique that all our ancestors would have practiced. And it not only preserves, which in a way that pasteurization doesn't, because pasteurization neutralizes the food at a deep level and deprives it of many of its nutrients and its aliveness factor, its electricity, its enzymes and electrons. And so this is the real preservation method that we are all going back to, food, that transcends the limitations of the industrial food chain. There's a lot more flavor in it and a lot more zinginess.
And medicine. So fermented foods have a lot more vitamin C that is available to us than the actual raw vegetables. And also in terms of probiotics, we can replace our probiotic tablets and capsules and just establish a routine of eating fermented foods on a regular basis. That is, let's say, well, I would eat fermented foods every day, but for most people, it would probably be 3 to 4 times a week. Right?
Yeah. And there can be a ton more probiotics in a good sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, kombucha, whatever you choose to make, a fermented seed or nut cheese, a ton more than in a small bottle of capsules that you could spend £20 on. A lot of the good ones are £30, and some of them even go over £100 for a little bottle of capsules. And there's more probiotics in a fresh jar of kimchi that costs you pennies to make. A great investment, and will really also warm you up during winter.
Yeah. And what else did we pick today, Joe? What wild food did we pick today?
We picked some hawthorns.
Let's talk about hawthorn a little bit then,
Okay.
since it seems like it's the peak season for hawthorn berries.
These hawthorn berries were so gorgeous, crimson, the most richest crimson. It was screaming at us, and we were lucky enough that we found a few different bushes. One of the bushes, they were huge, and that's really big for a hawthorn berry. And they remind us of little apples, little creamy apples. There's a huge pip in the middle, and they are famous for being the best wild food for heart health. So get your hawthorn on. The best time of year for hawthorn leaves and flowers is the spring when they're soft and tender. And then this time of year, the best time of year for the fruits. And gather some, make them into a tea, mush off the fruit and strain them, and you'll have a wonderful potion. Tonic.
That's good, enriches the blood and is rich in iron, and it's so good for the heart and blood circulation. And whichever medicines are good for the heart, they're also heart openers. So energetically, they boost our whole immune system and open our heart. So you can't go wrong with hawthorn.
Make friends with hawthorn.
Even if it's just a few berries and you just pick them and eat them like I do. I don't get involved with the tea too much. That's Joel's specialty, but I do pick a few berries and eat them just to tune into the season and to the environment. And that is such a good way to commune with nature. It's one of the best ways because it brings you right here to that season, to that time of the year, to the present moment, and it connects you to the environment.
All right. Just did we mention elderberries in the last one?
I think so. We mentioned, yeah.
You might find a few elderberries left, even if they're dried on the tree, which we saw quite kind of a lot of today. That's great, because a lot of time you will buy dried elderberries from a wild herbal food shop. So they're already dried for you on the tree, so great. Still pick them if they look all shriveled up and they've been preserved. And they're so rich in vitamin C and iron that they preserve themselves really well. And that is an excellent remedy to make into tea and to have
potions.
Syrups. And of course you can make healthier versions of syrups if you don't want to use refined sugar, which is...
Tell us about your favorite sweeteners then, since you know what is related to the flavor of sweet.
Yeah, so how we made the elderberry syrups and jams and drinks. Got a kilo or 2 of elderberries, I need to get that much. And then I cooked them lightly, just enough for them to maybe reach a boil briefly and then turn off the heat and let them cool down. Probably didn't even reach a boil because I prefer not to boil things, but I can look it up to about 80 degrees. And then wash them first before that, and then blended them once they'd cooled down, and then put them through a strainer. And then with that pulpy juice, we soaked some dried dates in those for an hour or two till the dates softened up, and then we reblended. And that was, we made a drink from that, and we had a second pressing where it was more thick, and we saved that as a syrup, and everyone loved it. Even people who didn't know what it is and found it in the fridge, just like drank the whole bottle.
Yeah, we lost it. We lost it to the people that found it in the fridge. That means it was super good.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about
And they are
imagine
people
it.
in the know.
Yeah. And what?
And they are wise people in the know.
Yeah, it just vanished. That means that, you know, it's good medicine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was very potent what they drank.
Yeah.
So make friends with those elderberries. If you can't find fresh, that's no big deal at all. Find them at your local herbalist or online, whether that's someone like Baldwin's. They also have remedies. I'm sure you can find some organic or wildcrafted ones on Amazon. Not sure off the top of my head what they go for a kilo. Probably not much more than 20 or 30 or even 40 pounds. But wow, what you get for a kilo of those, if you can make a really great syrup out of those and sweeten it with an amazing fresh raw sweetener like dates, that's a great choice. That will keep you feeling invincible through the colder months because it is so rich in iron. And iron is a mineral that is very closely associated with the heart being the center of our electromagnetic field. Scientists have measured the heart and say the electromagnetic field of the heart is 500 times higher than any other part of the body, including the brain. And so the heart is a magnetic center, and as we know, iron is magnetic. So foods rich in iron really build that. And iron is essential to our immune system's strength, hence Iron Man and all other things with the word iron put at the front denotes strength. And iron works extremely well. Now, iron from crushed up minerals and rocks, like many supplements are made of, is pretty useless because it's a non-assimilable form of iron. And yes, a lot of us are told things like, oh, beetroots are really rich in iron. Well, beetroots have absolutely nothing on an elderberry. There's other great natural wilder foods as well, like nettles, which are a great source, but really elderberry, and especially if you want some of that red, rich iron color, the sort of beetrooty iron color, then you can get that with elderberry.
Beetroots are in season though, so have some beetroots.
Lithuania speaks.
That's right.
You have heard it.
So
We got our elderberries in Lithuania, by the way, as well. So we're going to be making an elderberry borscht. It's coming to get you.
another wild food that we picked the other day,
Yes,
walnut.
walnuts.
Mm-hmm.
We picked some in Lithuania.
And we picked some in London.
And we picked some in London, in
There-
Covent Garden.
There are quite a few walnut trees around, so if you're lucky enough to live by one,
Mm-hmm.
this is the season of walnuts. If you can get a hold
Now-
of fresh walnuts, it's quite a different experience. Even if you just eat a nut with a, you know, straight from the shell rather than shelled nut, it's so different and so delicious. So take time and have a few walnuts. It's the season.
And if you don't manage to find any, you're not looking hard enough, but if you don't manage to find any, then the fresh walnuts in their shells will be coming into the great organic and health food shops around the country. Get them in their shells now from England or France, from the most local and organic ones, and stock up. They're delicious. And eat a few a day, crack them fresh because they are so much more flavorful. They are meant to be in the shells preserve their freshness, their life force, and stop them going rancid. And you'll be amazed at how much more filling and satisfying they are when they are really fresh compared to when they've been shelled and just sitting in a packet.
Yeah. So these are our food tips for this time of the year.
Of course, mushroom season,
Of course.
when it comes to mind. We have a neighbour's tree that is covered in some amazing looking mushrooms. Of course, if you're foraging, always make sure you are identifying 100% correctly and you know what you're doing. caveat. Get a good foraging guide, go on a good foraging course, most definitely. But otherwise, you can buy wild mushrooms from good greengrocers, farmers markets. And it's the time of year for mushrooms. The mushrooms are coming out. Mushrooms of all kinds, wonderful varieties. So get your mushrooms on. They're probably one of the foods that we prefer, that are on our prefer to cook list a lot of the time. We do occasionally discerningly use raw mushrooms in dishes, but especially wild mushrooms. It's a good way to make sure that they are really prepared properly and purified. To either use dried ones as a great preparation method and then rehydrate them, or of course fresh ones, and then we like to just cook them lightly, and they are an excellent animal food substitute. We've got an amazing texture as well as great nutrients, vitamin D, which is brilliant at this time of year as the sun wanes.
So for this time of the year, we leave you with a couple of tips. Enjoy the rain. It's the rainy season. Remember that England is a rainforest, so try and vision it and visualize it, and just accept the fact that you might be living, if you live in England, you might be living in a rainforest. So just do whatever you can to plant more trees within your garden, or participate in your local community efforts to do that. And look out for rainbows. There are lots of rainbows around.
Mm-hmm. I ate one today, and it wasn't a packet of Skittles. We'll post the photo on social media.
Thank you for tuning in. Stay dry, stay warm. Enjoy cozy evenings with candlelight. Enjoy the equal night and day. Notice how the night is the same length as day. Now the days are going shorter, but for a short period, it will feel like the night is the same length as the day, which is a very specific sensation. It is definitely a marker for this time of the year. So see how your body is attuning to it, and allow yourself to sleep more if you need to sleep more. We always notice it during the change of the seasons, that especially if it's that rainy, to just allow the body to rest and tune in more. And of course, as we sent in an email, enjoy a good ritual bath with nice oils and herbs and all the
good salts, lots of magnesium.
Yeah, and relax your muscles. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we will probably see you in winter season.
Great. Stay wild.
Stay wild.
Stay in the heart.
Oh, and
stay thankful.
I hope you enjoy the book, because you will all get one, and share the tips with others, and share the love of the world. It's very special for us to release the book, and we want as many people as possible to benefit from it. So do share it with your family, friends, and share with us your delicious recipes that you make from it, and tag us so we can comment and like and share.
And come in and try the best wild burger. We love you. Thank you.